creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Please tell me y'all have seen this video where this girl goes to an antique shop in Plainfield, Wisconsin, and she finds this very suspicious looking leather lampshade. Now, if you look closely, it almost looks like this leather lampshade has tattoos on it. Now, why is this suspicious? Well, Plainfield, Wisconsin is where Ed Gein is from. You know, the guy who inspired Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the serial unaliver and grave robber who fashioned furniture and utensils and bowls and plates and stuff out of human flesh and bones. Now, would it be a far stretch to say that this was made by Ed Gein? Maybe. But would it be impossible that some of his furniture he fashioned made it out to the public? Because as sadistic as it would be for him to give away things he fashioned out of humans, I think we're kind of past that point with this man. So it's entirely possible that this could be made by Ed Gein. It has dominoes and stuff on it. It has tattoos. What do you guys think about this?
I take that to authorities and get a DNA test done. What would you do?
I know where the woman from Terenza actually came from. If you guys haven't heard about this already, apparently on October 10th of 2025, a woman landed at the New York International Airport and spoke to immigration there after she landed and showed them her passport, and they were confused because it said a country named Terenza that no one had ever heard about, and she was confused about where she was. And so the authorities took her in to question her and just ask her some questions, and then she ended up disappearing. And this is very, very similar to a story we heard about like 20 years ago with the man from Taured. It's pretty much exactly the same. And we already know where the man from Taured actually came from. He's from beyond the ice wall. We solved this mystery 2 years ago. There's a continent down past the second ring that says New Taured. He must have flown in there, or his plane must have gone through one of the many Aurora Borealis portals that are in the air. But we gotta figure out, where is this woman from? To figure out where she came from, we need to look at the German flat earth ice wall map that was from World War II. They mapped out the entire Earth based on a reflection of the moon. And so on this, we can see our continents, but we can also see secret continents that are in our very oceans. So when we look at our own map, we just see a huge ocean full of empty water, no continents. But the truth is, there actually is land over there, and our pilots don't fly over those areas because they have specific flight paths they have to go on. So they only fly over North America and all of our continents, to the point where they don't even see the other ones. But I think this woman came from one of these other continents, perhaps Atlantis or Lemuria, and maybe it has a country on there that says Terenza, and she probably just got off at the wrong airport. There's some sort of mistake there. And we know that the elites have magical powers. That's what they're invested into. That's their speciality. So they probably figured out that there was someone out of place in their matrix of systems of things, and they transport her quickly out of there. They have the power to do that because their magic, it really is just advanced technology. This is the same thing that happened in Miami for the January incident of 2024 when aliens showed up at the Miami Mall. Anyway, I expanded my latest piece of artwork and I put it onto a shirt because many people were asking me to remove the Fortnite text font that I had above my other shirt. So if you want this one, you can go get it. The link is in my bio. I greatly appreciate it because selling these shirts helps me to be able to keep making these videos.
What language does he speak? This is awesome.
This man
When is it coming to Bali?
could be one of the worst pedophiles in American history. Meet Camden Dean Dale. He is a former BYU baseball player and now a convicted pedophile. So for the past few years, Camden was known in Idaho as a promising baseball player, and a lot of people believed he was going to go on to become a star in the MLB. But beneath the surface, Camden was hiding an extremely dark and disturbing secret. You see, on February 7th of this year, he was arrested based on a juvenile court warrant on charges of lewd conduct with a child.
Oh.
For a period of at least 5 years when he was younger, Camden had spent his time molesting a young girl. This young girl, who hasn't been identified, was allegedly close to Camden's family, and he was given access to her because her family seemed to trust Camden. However, he started molesting this girl when she was only 7 years old. Later on, she would claim that he touched her under her clothes almost every time they were together. She told a story about Camden holding his hand over her mouth at age 11 while he molested her so that family members that were nearby wouldn't hear. She also described holding back cries of pain when Camden was pleasured, and said that the abuse led to severe trauma, sleep loss, vomiting, and so much more. Now, he actually molested this girl repeatedly over and over from her age 7 to 12. And then he moved on and started playing baseball and thought everybody would forget about this. However, all these allegations came to light earlier this year when he was arrested. But that young girl wasn't the only alleged victim of Camden's. Court documents confirm that there was another child that made allegations against him, and the prosecutors themselves even further referred to other allegations that had been made against Camden during their investigation that implied, according to them, 3 more minors. So this guy is clearly a sick pedophile who should never see the light of day again, right? Well, no, that's not what happened. You see, Camden was given a 5 to 10 year sentence at the end of his trial, but the judge suspended that sentence, meaning that he didn't have to serve that sentence in prison, and he was put on probation for 8 years. He was also sentenced to a measly 180 days in a local jail, and he's required to complete 200 hours of community service. So here you have a full-grown man, 22 years old, who repeatedly molested a child for 5 years, caused irreparable damage to her, and also allegedly, according to court documents, may have molested even more children. This guy's an absolute super predator, and yet he's only handed a sentence of 180 days in jail and a 5 to 10 year suspended sentence in prison. This absolutely disgusts me, and the people who handed this sentence down and handled this trial and everything should be deeply ashamed of themselves. We have a pedophilia problem here in America, and we do not punish these people hard enough, but I've never heard of a sentence like this one. And if he wasn't a white, promising, upcoming baseball player, I think things would have gone a little bit differently for.
Or he might have a rich family that knows somebody that knows somebody. And what kind of judge would suspend the sentence?
When an artist goes beyond the frame? Bro, you just broke the frame. Oh, wait, yo. That is cool. Making it look like he, like, spilled paint on the frame.
Oh, no.
Oh, I don't like that sound. That makes me shiver, bro. It gives me the goosebumps. That is so cool. It's like he cracked the frame. Wait, this is so creative. Oh, she gonna bandage it up? That's so cool. No, this is actually mad creative, bro. This is like real modern art, you know? Not all that fake stuff now. He stitched it up! I'm actually intrigued. These are so incredibly creative. That is sick, bro! I'm actually kind of in awe right now. What the heck? No, this dude is legit, bro. This guy's actually legit.
Yep.
Like, what am I looking at? What are you doing now? What's like they're talking to each other through their little cup phones? That is crazy! He's fishing? Where's he gonna fish at? He's fishing up another picture! Yo, he just... he remade the whole frame, bro. I'm sorry. Oh, and the eye is outside the frame. That is so sick, dude. What is this? It's so cool.
How modern art should look like.
Here's what a
He looks
Lil
like
Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Could be Lil Wayne. But is this really Lil Wayne? Because this is the Lil Wayne I remember. The block is hot. The block is hot, remember? Now this Lil Wayne comes out of nowhere. Now listen, this dude is aging real fast. Because I still look the same way I looked 15 years ago. Don't you agree? I mean, he's in a good mood. He's smiling. But he just doesn't look like the Lil Wayne that we all know. Now, does he? Come on, man. Of course he does. Come on. People change, bro. Like, nothing stays the same. Nah, but for real, who's this, though? Who is this dude right here? Lil Wayne, is that you? Something is going on out here, guys. And I am not going to get to the bottom of this. I miss this Lil Wayne. This was the real Lil Wayne since way back. Why do people change every time they get rich and famous? Why is that? And people like me stay the same. I always thought the more money you get, the better you will look. What is going on in HW, guys? This video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just wondering, is that Lil Wayne? I'm pretty sure it is, but he just looks different. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm out.
Nobody stays young forever.
This is an iPhone 17 Pro Max, and this is a Xiaomi 17 Pro Max. And as a product strategy, this is kind of hilarious. But guess what? Xiaomi has been not so subtly appealing to iPhone users for a while now. This year, it's just more straightforward than ever. They literally changed the name of their phones to match the iPhone. So it's obvious, but hey, this phone is like the iPhone, but better. Like the screen is like an iPhone, but it's better because it gets so much brighter and has a smaller notch and has an ultrasonic fingerprint reader. The design is very much like an iPhone, but the screen on the back, well, that's better. That you can use as a viewfinder to take actually high-quality selfies or display notifications or even play whole games with this retro case. The Pro iPhones have triple 48 megapixel cameras this year, so naturally the Xiaomi has triple 50 megapixel cameras. And the Pro Max here has a 7,500 milliamp hour silicon carbon battery. So that's like 50% more battery than the iPhone, and it charges faster. So somewhere out there was a customer who was about to buy an iPhone, but then they see this and it's cheaper and they may be convinced.
It's not iPhone that people don't want to quit. It's iOS. And as long as other brands use Android, people won't switch easily. It's coming to you. No way. Oh, she's catching up. Real Mermaid from Real AI.
When was the last time you saw Miley Cyrus? Why do I ask? Because she was featured in a Gucci ad, and she is now completely unrecognizable. If you haven't seen the photo, take a look at this. Who is that in the Gucci ad? Does that look like Miley Cyrus to you? This is not the Miley Cyrus.
Oh my God, look at that.
I remember seeing on TV. Do you? What is going on with Miley Cyrus?
For sure.
This is the Miley Cyrus I'm used to seeing, and I'm sure many of you are. Take a look at this side by side. That's the Gucci ad. That's Miley Cyrus. What is going on with Miley Cyrus? So the question needs to be asked. Has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? This is the Miley Cyrus we're all used to seeing. So my question to you is, who is this Miley Cyrus? As I always say in all of my videos, I understand that people age and people can change. But what is going on with Miley Cyrus? So I guess my question to you is, has Hollywood claimed another celebrity? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
That's Miley Cyrus.
What happens when you eat ginger? You bite into fresh ginger, that sharp, spicy burn hits instantly. Your tongue wakes up. Saliva rushes. Heat spreads through your throat like a spark. The moment it hits your stomach, enzymes fire. Juices swirl, walls glow warm yellow as gingerols kick digestion into motion. Inside, the brainstem calms. Nausea signals fade, replaced by cool, steady waves of balance. In the bloodstream, amber compounds flow. Vessels widen, circulation speeds up. Your heart pumps faster, smoother. Every beat pushing warmth through your core. Down in the liver, golden energy lines cleanse and flush out toxins. White blood cells light up. Your immune system goes on alert. Ready. The gut moves gently. Trapped gas dissolves, digestion clears, metabolism rises, body temperature balances. A natural thermal lift from inside. And when you exhale, everything slows, steady, calm. That's not just spice, that's ginger, igniting your system from the inside.
Does powdered ginger have the same effect?
5 signs that you have too much sugar in your body, and if you ignore them, they can quietly damage your health. So, here are 5 warning signs to watch for. Watch this video to the end, or you won't find it when you need it. And don't forget to follow me. Let's see if you recognize any of them. The first sign is poor sleep. If you often wake up in the middle of the night, especially around 3 a.m., it could mean your nervous system is overstimulated because of high blood sugar. The second sign is constant thirst and frequent urination. If you're always thirsty and running to the bathroom, your kidneys may be trying to flush out excess sugar. The third sign is intense cravings for sweets or carbs. When blood sugar is too high, your insulin doesn't work properly, and your body starts demanding more fuel, especially sugar. The fourth sign is unexplained itching all over the body, which happens because high sugar levels damage tiny blood vessels affecting your skin. And the fifth sign is body pain, because sugar can damage your nerves, leading to chronic aches. My next video, I'll share 5 practical solutions to clean up your blood sugar. Comment yes if you're interested and share this video if you found it helpful.
Amen.
You say, Yahweh, your way, not our way, your way, Yahweh.
What are you thinking as you're sitting there, experiencing this with him?
Want to take this stuff off?
I was speechless. And I don't know if you heard him say, you have to go now.
I couldn't handle it at all. You have to go. Enough. You understand, right?
That was one of the most chilling second and a half or 2 seconds I've ever experienced in any interview I've ever done.
No, I did some cocaine for a week. I had to get high. I had to back then. I had to get high.
And then he reached a point where you have to go now. And what I took from that is you don't know what's coming out of his mouth next.
Thank you. Thank you. Want to take this stuff off?
The Mike Tyson I met was soft-spoken, polite, well-read. I don't know how long this new Mike Tyson lasts.
There's nothing more terrifying than a broken man.
That alcoholics in particular carried a unique spiritual wound. He saw that their addiction was not about the alcohol itself. It was about the desperate attempt to touch something transcendent, something beyond the mundane reality that felt too small for their souls. They drank to feel connected, to feel alive, to feel anything other than the suffocating emptiness of a world without magic. But here is the twist. The addiction itself becomes the barrier. The very thing you use to satisfy your thirst becomes the thing that keeps you thirsty. You drink to feel whole, but the drinking fractures you further. You chase the high to escape the pain, but the high deepens the pain. It is a paradox, a cruel cycle that seems designed to break you. Yet Jung insisted this was intentional. This cycle is not random chaos. It is a divine mechanism, a spiritual test designed specifically for those strong enough to endure it. God does not speak to everyone through addiction because not everyone needs this particular lesson. But for those who do, the message is always the same. What you seek outside yourself can only be found within. The thirst you feel is real. But you have been looking in the wrong direction. You have been trying to satisfy a spiritual need with material solutions. You have been trying to fill a God-shaped hole with things that can never fit. And every time you try, the hole grows larger, the thirst grows stronger, and you feel more lost than before. This is where most people give up. They see the endless cycle and conclude they are broken, cursed, unworthy. But Jung saw something different. He saw that the intensity of your craving is proportional to the depth of your calling. The more you suffer, the greater your potential for awakening. The thirst that cannot be quenched is not your punishment. It is your preparation. God speaks to his chosen ones through this impossible hunger, because only through it can they learn the most important truth. Nothing in this world will ever be enough. Not success, not love, not power, not pleasure, nothing. And once you truly understand this, once you stop fighting it and start listening to it, the thirst begins to transform. It stops being about filling yourself and starts being about emptying yourself. It stops being about escape and starts being about encounter. The craving that once drove you to destruction becomes the doorway to something you never imagined possible, a direct connection to the divine source that has been calling you all along. But you cannot reach this point while you are still fighting. You cannot hear the message while you are still drowning in guilt and shame. You must first accept that your addiction is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your guide, the thorn in your flesh that will not let you rest until you finally turn inward and face what you have been running from. The thirst will never be quenched by anything outside you. That is the brutal truth Jung understood. But here is the hope. It was never meant to be. The thirst is the call. The craving is the invitation. And your addiction is the only thing powerful enough to force you to finally answer. You have tried to quit 1,000 times. You have promised yourself, promised others, maybe even promised God that this time would be different. And yet you fell again, and again, and again. Each relapse feels like proof of your failure.
Until the addiction hurts the people who you love.
That started a trend because I'm like, I'm already used goods. This is the game. I'm in Hollywood. This is what I do. And of course I felt ashamed the next day, but I thought, well, I'm single. What's wrong? Many women are getting paid for it. I got paid for that. And so I got pimped out through this acting agency, and I slept with men for money. And this became my regular thing. And meanwhile, everybody thought, oh, you're just doing modeling gigs and little commercial gigs. And I never told anybody. I never told anybody even now. But it's important for people to see that this started when I was a little girl, because I couldn't tell people about the abuse. So I already felt like used goods. I knew I wasn't a good girl. And I felt ashamed because I had the dirty secrets. And I thought, oh, I want to stand strong. But against Hollywood, it is so hard. And I wanted my dreams to come true. I've always been plucky, positive, and social media was Facebook. It was MySpace and Facebook. And so I would always be posting pictures. Hey, I'm at this audition. Hey, people were like, wow, you're really working. You're doing good. So I got that positive affirmation. I got that love I was searching for. So I just glossed it over. I just pretended like, who cares? This is the life. And they told me that. They said, every actress does this. This is how they learn their roles. Pretty Woman, what do you think Julia Roberts did? Of course we don't. I mean, we know now with the Epstein scandals and everything that yes, these actresses were pimped out. This is real. And that's how they got started. From every level, this is how Hollywood operates. This is the beast system.
Craziest part is she did all that and most of us don't even know who she is.
A human trafficker named Shen Zi today had 15 billion in cryptocurrency assets seized by the United States government in a joint operation with the United Kingdom against his evil work. He is part of a transnational criminal organization that kidnaps people. They think they're getting a real job, but instead he's forcing them to scam people against their will. I've been to one of these scamming compounds in Asia. Terrible. They threaten to torture people, they hurt people, and they make them do this criminal activity against their will, at threat of violence to them and their family. And it's a massive, massive way that human trafficking networks and criminal organizations are making money. So today we're celebrating. We've made a small dent against this great evil. We've sent a message to Shenzi and other criminal organizations that somebody's watching. The work that he's doing is going to be exposed. The world's not going to be okay with it. And hopefully, because these organizations are too big to fail, because they're so embedded and so corrupt within some of the governments in the countries that they're operating in, it's really hard to get the enslaved people released. But this is a great first step, and then the world finds out about it, and we keep pushing back against this great evil.
BTC has always been used for traffickers, and yet people can see it.
The Northern Lights is the physical evidence of God's throne. Look how beautiful this is. Look how beautiful this is. Listen to the Matrix explanation as to why this is happening. The Matrix says the Northern Lights are caused by a stream of charged particles from the sun called the solar wind that collide with gases in the Earth's atmosphere. These collisions excite the atoms. And as they release this energy, they emit photons of light. Of course, they have a natural explanation for this. It's fake information. The Bible has a different explanation. The Bible indicates why this is there. This is John speaking in Revelation chapter 4, verses 2 through 3. John was one of Jesus' disciples. And he says, "Immediately I was in the Spirit, and behold, a throne was standing in heaven, and one sitting on the throne. And he who was sitting was like a jasper stone and sardis in appearance. And there was a rainbow around the throne, like an emerald in appearance." I'm showing what an emerald is. These are emerald stones. Okay, so it's like a green stone. Exactly what the Aurora Borealis looks like, the Northern Lights. So this is jasper and sardis, or sardine. And so Revelation 4, 2 through 3, the one on the throne was of jasper and sardis. So this is the color of the one that was on the throne. So everyone take that for what it is. So we know that the space agencies lied about the shape of the Earth. They told us it was round and we were flying through space. When in actuality, that's all fake. That's all false. There's no space or any of that stuff. Okay. If you didn't know that, the Earth is stationary, just as the Bible says. There's a firmament. And if God's throne is above the Earth, where exactly would it be? Let's check Psalm 48, verse 2. And it says, "Beautiful in elevation, the joy of the whole earth is Mount Zion in the far north, the city of the great King." Right up here in the land of Jesus, essentially, the North Pole, where we speculate where the Garden of Eden is located, where New Jerusalem is or will be. So right up here is where God's throne is, right, directly above this, above the North Pole. And this right here is the radius of the Northern Lights, or the Aurora Borealis. It covers all of that. So the glory of God, the Creator's throne, his divine essence and energy and color is spread out all over the north. Like, may I tell you what? Hold on, let's look at this. Let's look at this again. The one who pre-existed, all things were made through Christ. Check out the whole book of Hebrews. If you want to know who Christ is, his authority, and his significance, read the book of Hebrews, man. Like, look at this. Revelation 4, 2 through 3 says that around the throne is a rainbow, like an emerald in appearance. This comes from the throne of God. This is direct. This is in the north. It's exactly where the Bible says God's throne is. Like, stop listening to the Matrix in the mainstream telling you that this is space wind. Bro, that's cap. That's not space wind. This is the glory of God.
This is king.
Notice the people in the background, okay?
Yep.
There's the Pope. Look at these guys in the background.
Yeah.
The painter.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Pope.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the guys in the background. You see this?
Oh, I know what that is. Don't go to Google.com. F-R-E, yeah. Yep, there it is.
Yeah? Yeah? What does that look like, buddy? Huh? See that? See? See what they wear?
Wasn't he trying to supposedly save Germany from that?
See the Masons, bro? They're always in the background, bro. Always in the background, bro. See that? Look at the picture. black and white. See the apron?
Can you say that word on YouTube, or it's better not
Yeah,
to?
but who cares? You guys get the point if you watch. That's why you gotta watch us, man. Hit the subscribe button.
Hit the smash button.
Everything is by design. Nothing's by accident. All pre-planned. All propped up.
Yo, trust me, you do not want to end up like this guy. You see, he was a victim of law number 3 of the 48 Laws of Power. His name was Balcha, and he was an Ethiopian warlord. But what kind of warlord loses a war without a single sword being drawn? Well, this dude is Haile Selassie. Look, he's got some cool ass pets. Now you see, him and Balcha were from the same place and they didn't see eye to eye. And it was not enough room for both of them. So Balcha, being the warlord, decided that he was going to pull up with 10,000 of his men. But yo, Haile Selassie was like, chill, we don't have to do all that. Come to this banquet real quick and we're just going to talk it out. And this is probably the exact face Balcha gave to Haile Selassie when he said that. Because a lot of times when people get invited to those banquets, they get unalived. But you see, he wasn't no punk. He was going to pull up anyway, but he bought 600 of his best men, just in case Haile Selassie tried anything. He was on guard the whole night, making sure that nothing unscrupulous was happening. And nothing did. But something was going on 3 miles away. Haile Selassie's men had surrounded his men, not to fight them, but to buy them. His men had to choose between baskets of gold or war, and you could guess what they chose. He came back to the camping ground to realize that all of his men were gone. And when he tried to escape, he couldn't because he was surrounded. He was utterly defeated. Haile Selassie used law number 3 of the 48 Laws of Power with ruthless efficiency. If your enemies can't see your next move coming, there's no way for them to stop it.
This video is going viral right now on Twitter because this woman brings up some very interesting things about the education system.
After 13 years of government education, the average 18-year-old is economically and historically illiterate. They do not know anatomy, nutrition, or native plants. They cannot build a house, work on a car, or farm. This is a massive waste of potential. No other time in history were people this incompetent. Homeschool your children, and remember, education is not exclusive to a classroom.
Never mind all that, which is true. It is shocking the amount of similarities between school and prison. Not always a dress code, but definitely authoritarian structure. And you may be thinking, what do you mean? Well, you raise your hand, you ask a teacher, they're the authority. You get used to having an authority figure that isn't a parent, by the way, which is very telling. Emphasis on silence and order, yes. Raise your hand to go to the freaking bathroom, and what's with that? Walking in lines? Oh yeah, my late father-in-law always said, if people are in line, you go the other way. Get away from the freaking line, man. Don't line up. Loss of individual autonomy, yes. Abridged freedoms, that's true. You have to be here at this time, yada yada yada, regimented, woo. No input in decision making, true. They'll pretend it's called actually the Delphi technique. Look up the Delphi technique, D-E-L-P-H-I. And it's a way where they basically, let's say a city or a town is going to impose this new thing. They'll invite everyone to come give their opinions and what do people think and should we be doing this? But it's all for show. They 100% are doing it anyway. They're just pretending to want public input. But it's called the Delphi technique. Check that out. And then set times enforced for walking, eating, etc. That's literally true, man. Not to mention the artificial lights, which we know reduces the lifespan by about 50% in fruit flies and chickens that are under artificial light. And that's not even to mention the Wi-Fi that are now in schools frying people. I mean, this is freaking crazy, man. Comment for part 2 and follow for more.
Rockefeller wanted workers, not thinkers.
Everybody calls me crazy when I say a synagogue of reptilians, or when I bring up the fact that yes, shape-shifting reptilians are biblical. The Bible starts with a shape-shifting, deceptive reptilian. It ends with the same. You have David saying things like, lizards are in king's palaces. Jesus repeatedly calls the same exact group reptiles, serpents, vipers, says that they've created a den of thieves. And he only refers to one specific group in this way. So we have this incident in New York City a couple years back, and then we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who live in the sewers underneath New York City, and they eat pizza. I also just saw a trailer. They're coming out with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Chrome. It shows them literally morphing into Nephilim. Like they grow extra fingers and stuff and they become gigantic. But I want to show you this movie I came across on YouTube because I actually cannot believe how upfront it is.
The creatures who deceive the humans in the name of God were
reptile-like aliens called reptilians. The reptilians like to eat the animals of Earth and occasionally enjoyed eating human flesh, too.
They brainwashed the Earthlings by using the name of God when their true intentions were to invade and overtake the Earth.
But this was a violation of the Universal Code, which states that no planet should interfere with any other planet as long as its people live with the spirit of love and harmony.
They cunningly devised a plan that would not breach the Universal Code.
They brainwashed individuals and used them to instigate disorder in society. This gave the Reptilians a reason to interfere. They then intended to have their compatriots immigrate to Earth so they could control the planet before the space police interfered.
I'm here to take your daughter. She has been chosen to be the next sacrifice to God. Listen well, everyone. I have a message directly from God. He wants you all to know that we are the chosen people. God has promised us endless life and everlasting youth. And now let the sacrifice begin.
That's a movie called Laws of the Sun, and it came out in the year 2000.
She was obviously under the power of a very strong demon.
What?
And I said, who are you? And why did you jump on Ramona? And the spirit, I'll never forget, he said, you fool, you don't even know who she is. And I said, she's Ramona Jarnigan. He said, no, she's not Ramona Jarnigan. And she's defiled by the blood of a virgin sacrifice, which gives me the right to her if she comes onto my territory. All new stuff to me. I didn't know about spiritual territories. I didn't know about marks. The spirit said, when a human is marked, any spirit can see the mark. And I want to. And I said, well, obviously you don't have the power to her or she would be dead. You tried your best. It didn't work. And this is a home game for you. If you're the power spirit of this nation, every demon on this reservation just saw you get your butt handed to you. So I said, I'm pretty new at this, but I only see one or two options. Either you can leave and we'll leave and forget this ever happened, or we can fight it out, in which case it's not about you versus me. It's about you versus Jesus Christ, God in the flesh, the Savior of mankind. And you know you can't win that fight. So if it takes 1 hour or if it takes 24 hours, we will keep fighting until you finally leave. And all of the demons on the Winnemucca Indian Reservation are going to see you lose a fight to a rookie. And I know those thoughts came from God because I wasn't smart enough to think that through at the time. But this spirit said, you promise not to come back? I said, yeah. He said, okay, I'll leave. And suddenly it was gone. And Ramona, as we called her at the time, she came to her senses. She said, something bad happened, didn't it? And I said, yeah, something bad happened. She said, what? I said, we'll talk about it when we get off the reservation. So we drove off the reservation, and that's where we found out who she was. We have taken you into our house. We've risked everything to help you. We've prayed for you hours and hours every night, and you're lying to us. And she said, what do you mean? I said, that spirit told us we didn't even know your real name. You weren't Ramona Jarnigan, and you were defiled by the blood of a virgin sacrifice. The truth sets you free. No truth, no freedom. She said, if I tell you the truth, will you promise not to ask me to leave your family? And I said, yeah. She said, well, my name's not Ramona Jarnigan. My name is Ray LeVay.
Ooh.
And my father was Anton LaVey.
If you want to hear the entire interview, it's on YouTube called The Confessionals. It's pretty cool. It's good.
Well, it seems like today someone has finally made their way down the shafts that were found under the pyramids.
That looks like AI, man. Come on.
Egypt. Clutch your pearls, girls, because now you're telling me that as of today, Dr. and archaeologist Rami, I'm not even going to try to say his last name because I don't want to be disrespectful to the Egyptian culture, is the first human being to make his way to the bottom of the shafts underneath the pyramid and has reported back what he found in the chamber at the bottom. And it is mind-blowing. Now, like always, take what you will, leave what you won't. I have purposely not talked about this topic yet because I like to have my facts backed. But as of today, allegedly, archaeologist Rami, I'm not going to try the name again, has made his way to the bottom, and what he found there was perfect blue like water chambers, I guess is what I'm referring to them as, with the most beautiful blue color water that he's ever seen in his life, with preserved humanoid body-like creatures in the water with, as he describes, the most crystal clear blue color in their eyes that he has ever seen. Now, once again, anything we talk about is for conversation, learning, entertainment purposes only. But have you heard this? Because I've now read 10 different reports and seen multiple videos all over social media, all over the different forums, and they're all claiming the exact same thing. So tell me, have you heard this? Because this is going to shake up history and the truth of our world like nothing else. So let's have this conversation today because I want to know if more people know about this. Drop it in the comments.
So here's what happened when these guys decided to connect a lake to the ocean. At first, it didn't look dangerous at all. They just dug a small channel to let the fresh water flow out into the sea. But things got out of control fast. At the beginning, it was just a thin stream trickling down. But with every passing minute, the current got stronger. The channel widened, eroding more and more until it turned into a rushing river. And that's when it hit how dangerous this idea actually was.
But it's actually pretty cool, though.
The guys in the video had no clue what they'd started. One of them even grabbed a surfboard and thought it would be fun to play with the flow. Huge mistake. Within seconds, that little stream became a powerful whirlpool, pulling everything straight into the ocean. And this is no joke. Stuff like this can be deadly, and it seriously harms the environment. So, if you're ever at the beach and see someone trying to connect a lake to the ocean, stay away. Especially if you're not a strong swimmer. Nature doesn't play around.
If you love cats, psychology says it reveals something unique about how your mind works. Cat lovers aren't just people who like animals. They are deep thinkers, independent souls who find peace in quiet moments. Unlike dogs, cats don't beg for love. They choose it. And that's why people who adore cats often value freedom, emotional space, and respect. They don't need constant attention. They crave real connection. Research shows that cat lovers are often more creative, open-minded, and comfortable being alone. That alone time isn't loneliness. It's where ideas grow, and the soul resets when a cat curls up beside you. It releases oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds humans. But because cats give affection slowly, that bond feels earned and powerful. That's why cat lovers often understand trust and patience better than anyone else. If you love cats, it says something beautiful about you. Your heart values calm over chaos, depth over drama, and truth over noise. Follow for more psychology insights. Comment, I love cats, if this sounds like you, and thanks for everything.
I love cats, and I have 5 cats now. Carla, Bella, Franklin, Mommy, and Benji.
Did you know that if you ever visit New Orleans, there's a good chance you'll run into at least one vampire during your trip?
No way.
And no, that's not a joke. For decades, the city has been wrapped in stories told by locals and travelers alike, tales of encounters with real vampires. They say these creatures mostly hang out in late-night bars and the old French Quarter. One cab driver once claimed he saw a dark, human-like figure dart across the street in front of his car. So fast it looked like it jumped straight out of a shadow and vanished into an alley. But the name that comes up in these legends more than any other is Count Saint-Germain. He's described as literally immortal, a man people have spotted under different names and identities since the 1700s. Some swear he appeared at fancy parties, but never ate a bite of food. Others say they've seen him wandering among marble tombs in the city's oldest cemeteries. Stories like these have made New Orleans the unofficial capital of mystery and vampire lore. Every corner here hides a secret, and the nightlife feels soaked in something
dark,
supernatural. So if you're a fan of vampire movies or books, or just someone craving a real adventure, now you know exactly where to go.
Everybody breathing from their chest, you breathing from survival mode, right? You breathing from your chest, you breathing wrong. Listen, let me say what I mean. Did you know this, that just deep breaths every day will get you out of fight or flight state? Just by deep breaths alone, right? So everybody went around breathing wrong, and your breathing is the reason why everything is happening, because you breathing like this. Now everything is happening fast. When you breathe like this, you can slow the earth down.
I like that. I like
better when it's slow. Or you can slow it down.
Y'all out there, that's why y'all feel chaotic right now. Y'all feel like y'all life is not in y'all control, because it's not.
Right? And that's why it's a lot of times when you was in the Navy, the thing on the Navy, what's that shit in the
submarine?
No, come on, guys, I'm on the ring. I'm talking about the
Navy SEALs.
The Navy SEAls. They have breathing techniques, right? They hold one side like this, hold it for 4 seconds, like that, yeah, and it clear brain fog.
You know, Kevin Gates said he don't have anxiety because he control his breed. I get it now.
Most people don't know this, but humans were never supposed to eat pumpkins. Wild pumpkins were never meant for the humans on this planet. They were extremely bitter, and they were only really meant for the prehistoric animals like the woolly mammoth. But after humans hunted those creatures to extinction, pumpkins slowly started disappearing. It wasn't until ancient humans discovered that certain gourds were less bitter, so they selectively bred them to feed livestock and then eventually humans. Pumpkins were one of the first domesticated fruits in the Americas. They would travel from the Americas to almost every other part of the world, eventually becoming the American version of a jack-o'-lantern, which is pretty insane.
We don't have pumpkins here.
Hack your phone. It's more common than you think. When Israel's NSO group hacks your phone, they can see, hear, and record every message and everything you do on your phone. They've already done deals with India, Mexico, Hungary, Germany, Uganda, Indonesia, Poland, Saudi Arabia, Kazakhstan, UAE, Jordan, Dominican Republic, Egypt, Togo, Rwanda. So far, over 50,000 people have been leaked as victims of this spyware, including Jeff Bezos, a lot of activists that disappear, the president of South Africa, Spain, Belgium, France, Lebanon, Pakistan president, and so many more people. And why did Apple drop their lawsuit on NSO? Apple donates to the Friends of the IDF, like Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and the new owner of TikTok, Larry Ellison. Apple's lead chairman is Arthur Levinson. Apple hires dozens of people from Unit 8200, an Israeli Defense Force division. BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street are Apple's 3 biggest shareholders, and one of Apple's board members is Susan Wagner, a co-founder of BlackRock. Guess why they hacked my roster and made all the girls I talked to block me, and guess what everyone I mentioned has in common?
Well, this isn't good. Protein powders and shakes contain high levels of lead. Consumer Reports tested 23 products and found that more than 2/3 of them contain more lead in a single serving than experts say is safe to have in one day. Just look. So just for reference, all these products were purchased from Target, H-E-B, and Amazon. And what they found is unbelievable. So just to start, they said the plant-based ones are the absolute worst. So here are the products they said to avoid. Naked Nutrition Vegan Mass Gainer had 1,572% of your daily value of lead. Huel Black Edition has 1,288% of your daily value. Garden of Life Sport Organic Plant-Based Protein, 564% of your daily value. Momentous, 476% of your daily value. Now, these products they say are okay once weekly. I don't know too many people who take protein once a week, but Muscle Med's Carnivore Mass came out at 247% of your daily value.
I used to take the other one, the red one.
Optimum Nutrition Serious Mass Squared, 202%. Jocko Fuel, 199% of your daily lead value. Vega Premium Sport Plant-Based Protein, 185%. Quest Protein Shake, 161%. Orgain Organic Plant-Based Protein Powder, 143%. Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Protein Shake, 150%. Equip Foods Prime Protein, 144%. Plant Fusion Complete Protein, 140%. Even Ensure, 132%. Muscle Milk, we're getting better here, 128%. KOS, 112%. Now, these are the best choices for daily consumption. Owen Pro Elite High Protein Shakes. Transparent Labs, The Irony. Optimum Nutrition. BSN Synthesix Protein Powder. Momentous Whey Protein Isolate. Dymatize Super Mass Gainer. And last but not least, the healthiest protein muscle tech 100% mass gainer. People, this is bad. In a world that's really promoting health and exercise right now, you're literally guzzling lead. How are we just catching this?
This right here is one of the most dangerous black magic books ever created. The thing you're looking at right now is a book that recaps one black magic ritual. It's basically a tutorial. This dangerous thing is called the Book of Al-Ghazali. Now, when you analyze the title, you will see of Al-Ghazali. Does that mean Al-Ghazali, this guy, he's the one who made it? Well, it's way more complicated than that, so follow the story. See, it all started when some anonymous people wanted to hurt other people by using black magic. As some unknown people came out of nowhere and they were like, how can we hurt the most people possible? That's a good question. You know what? Let's write a black magic ritual and put it all in one book. So follow me now. We're gonna write a black magic book that's gonna destroy everybody's life, okay? Follow me now. If we name it the Black Magic Book, nobody's gonna buy it. I mean, everybody will be scared. And that's exactly why we want to name our book after a famous writer, you know, so people will think that the writer wrote it and will immediately buy it. So, please, give me some famous authors these days. No, I'm not tuned in. Who's that? Shakespeare? Man, who the hell is that? No, that's too underground. Give me something famous, you know, someone who's mainstream. Al-Ghazali? Yeah, we're doing that. We're gonna name our book the Book of Al-Ghazali. So people will think that Al-Ghazali made this thing and they will immediately buy it. So they decided to name their dangerous black magic book after this guy, Al-Ghazali. This guy was innocent, he didn't do anything. So when the black magic book was published, it basically tricked everybody. Everybody was like, oh my god, Al-Ghazali dropped? Hold on, let us see. What the hell is that? That's how they tricked everyone to read this and end up straight up possessed. Obviously, when the book became too famous, some people were like, okay, this is low-key decent. You know what? Let's take it and apply it on other people. You know, double it and give it to the next person. That's how we ended up by having one of the most dangerous black magic books ever.
Okay.
What's up, bro? The video is supposed to be finished. I mean, why the hell are you looking at me like that? That book you're talking about, Al-Book of Al-Ghazali or something like that, doesn't matter, honestly. It's nothing compared to me. I am Shams al-Ma'arif, officially the most dangerous book ever. Ooh, bro, that's a hot take. I mean, of course, in your opinion, if you say so, you're gonna let him say that. What the hell do you mean by saying you're the most dangerous book? Bro, I have a step-by-step tutorial on how to do that shit. I'm the best. Bro, you're talking about a weak-ass tutorial. I have 100 of them, and they are way more detailed. Stop the cap, I'm better than you. Come on, man, even you know that I'm better than you. Miles better. Okay, you know what? Oh, shit. Guys, chill. What's happening here?
Chill. I know he made this story, but I can't prove it.
The persecution of Christianity is getting worse. Just a few days ago, on October 10th, nearly 30 pastors and preachers from Zion Church in different cities in China were taken by police in a single night, including their senior pastor, Ezra Jin, who was handcuffed and taken from his house. If you don't know, Zion Church is one of China's largest underground house churches, spread across more than 40 cities with nearly 10,000 believers. Back in 2018, the government forced Zion Church in Beijing to close after Pastor Jin refused to install surveillance cameras inside the sanctuary. Officials sealed the buildings and banned all church gatherings. But just like many other house churches in China, they never stopped. During the pandemic, Zion Church began meeting online and in small groups, gathering through live streams and Zoom. That's how they grew stronger and reached thousands more across the countries. Now they're being charged with illegal disseminating religious information online. How helpless is that? Even the U.S. State Department has called for the Chinese government to immediately release this pastor and to respect the freedom of religion, which is supposedly guaranteed by China's own constitution. So why is this happening? Because the government wants to weaken the house church movement, to push believers to give up or to join the Three Self-Patriotic movement, which is called 三自教会, known as the official church in China. Now you may wonder why so many house church members refuse to register with the official church.
Have you guys seen that video where a girl put together a whole folder with all her personal info just in case she ever gets kidnapped? Inside the folder, she included a strand of her hair for DNA testing, plus her fingerprints, but that's not all. She added the passwords to all her social media, a bunch of photos of herself from different angles, and her medical records, things like allergies and current medications. And the creepiest part is an envelope with a list of people she thinks should be suspected if she's ever kidnapped. On that list, her closest friends. She went so far as to mark a few names as first to check. There's also a sample of her handwriting in case someone tries to fake a letter from her. She did all of this so that, if the worst ever happens, investigators have everything in one place. When these videos started blowing up and getting millions of views, a lot of people decided to make their own versions of these folders. But many also raised concerns like, what if that folder ends up in the wrong hands? Or, what if one of your friends finds out they're at the top of your suspect list? What do you guys think? Could a folder like this actually save someone's life? And would you ever make one for yourself? Let me know in the comments.
Watch this carefully.
The babies we eat, the food we eat, the wars we fight. We are the first species on the face of this earth to be aware of evolution. The babies we eat,
Let me know your thoughts and comments down below.
Okay, stop scrolling for a second, because something insane is happening above your head right now, and no one at NASA wants to talk about it. Remember that glowing green interstellar visitor, 3I Atlas, the one defying physics, pulsing like it had a heartbeat? Well, guess what? It's not alone anymore. The James Webb Telescope just spotted a second object, so massive it makes Atlas look like a firefly next to a skyscraper. Astronomers are calling it Colossus, 100 times larger, darker than anything we've ever seen, and it's moving directly, perfectly toward Atlas. Not a coincidence, a rendezvous, a meeting written across the stars. Now here's where it gets weird. As Colossus approached, Atlas started reacting. Its green glow flared brighter, like it recognized something. Then thin beams of light started stretching from Atlas toward the massive shadow, and Colossus responded, with low, rhythmic electromagnetic pulses that shook radio signals across half the planet. Scientists tried calling it random interference. Sure, random, with perfect timing. And when the two aligned, Webb detected streams of energy, actual filaments, linking them together. Not chaos, not debris, patterns, geometric, pulsing, almost alive. Some scientists whispered it looked like synapses firing in a brain. Others said it was a cosmic umbilical cord. Either way, it wasn't natural. Something was transferring. Then the whole solar system started humming. Probes near Jupiter picked up the rhythm. Voyager, yes, Voyager, detected it from beyond the heliosphere. Earth's magnetic field flickered, GPS glitched, and for the first time ever, the night sky itself looked coordinated. And when Colossus finally blocked Atlas completely, it didn't end. It activated. Massive arcs of light, emerald and violet, rippled across the heavens, forming spirals, grids, mathematical shapes found in nature, art, and human architecture. The scientists are calling it structured luminal behavior. The rest of us? We're calling it what it feels like. A message. Atlas was never alone. It was the herald. And whatever Colossus is, has just arrived.
Show some actual footage, or be quiet.
For women, the number one question that a woman can ask a guy is, what's the biggest thing you learned about yourself through like the last few relationships you had? And you'll hear a lot of people say, well, I learned not to trust people because this girl was a bitch, or, you know, some girl cheated on me. And I learned that I should never do X, Y, and Z because of this. And it's always, even all the stuff they learned about themselves is somebody else's fault. The second thing that they're going to do is, what I learned about myself is that I am strong enough and I deserve more. And like, then they'll start inflating themselves. So the authentic person will say, whoa, I had this relationship. I realized that I was not strong enough to do X, or I had insecurities around this. That question alone, what is the biggest thing you learned about yourself? if someone has a mask on, that's the perfect opportunity for me to show you how powerful my mask is. It's also the perfect opportunity for an authentic person to really genuinely give you an answer.
Yeah. Great. I love that.
I'm starting to recognize this Yahuwah and Yahusha cult circling around TikTok. So watch this
good, folks. Listen to this
video real quick and then I'll make my point.
Play it.
Okay, I have to move
to the resurrection of Jesus.
That was Squid Games, season 3, episode 4, about 17 minutes in. You know who the VIPs are. They're the lineage of those that crucified Yahusha, all right? It's that simple. Now, let me be clear. I'm starting to realize that there's a bunch of people that's arguing between Jesus and Yahusha. And I've also noticed, like, even in the comments, it's like, if somebody says Jesus, then they're like, they correct them and they say, oh, no, his name is Yahusha. I'm like, hold on. Don't get it twisted. I use Yahusha, but that's my conviction. That's what Yahuwah himself told me, that's my true name. Not me. You know what I mean? His true name. But here's something I want you guys to recognize. You're probably going to disagree with me. Truth be told, the demons are trembling at the meaning of the name. So that means that if there's a demon in front of you and you say, in the name of Jesus, get thee behind me, the demon has now recognized, oh, he knows somebody that we know that we are under the authority of, right? Because I don't think y'all truly understand the Bible. I really don't think y'all really be reading the Bible. Because even them 7 demons said, I know Paul and I know Yahusha, but straight to them dang juice boxes, they was like, who is you? And they was exorcists. They was using the correct name, but guess what? Demons ain't move. Because it wasn't in their heart. They was using the name, but they wasn't using the Ruach HaKodesh, known as the Holy Spirit. They was just floating the name. Whatever, if it was Jesus, if it was Yahusha, the demon didn't move. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Understand me? That was a legion of demons that did not even budge when them exorcists came in the name of Yahusha. On a whole nother side note, this just proved, like, how can you even be an atheist? Or how could you not even trust in Yahusha? How could you even want to be on the dark side or the other side? When the same movies that you watch and are entertained by, they still saying his name. Because they know, every last one of them knows, but you, that there is power behind the event of his name. And that's what happened on Calvary. So before you start correcting somebody about how to properly say his name, I'm not saying that we should openly disrespect him. That's not what I'm saying. But before you start correcting somebody on how to say Yahusha or what his real name, why don't you find their need first? Find out if they've got a bill that they're struggling with. Find out if they've got a heartache that they're dealing with. Find out if they just lost somebody dear to them. I don't care if they had a pet ferret that passed away. Why don't you go find out what they are struggling first before you try and correct somebody on how to properly say something? Because you don't know what demon they're dealing with. You don't know if this is the last time that they even going to be on the face of this earth, and you worried about how they're pronouncing somebody's name? You a Pharisee, my G. And if you want to put stuff in some more perspective, imagine the woman with the issue of blood
preach
touching the hem of our Savior's garment, and he turned around and said, you calling me Jesus? This is how you properly pronounce my name, Yahusha. This is how you spell my name, Yahusha.
My man.
That woman would have laid out there unalived. Because all that time you wasting trying to grammarly correct somebody, she done passed out. And now it's another soul lost. Watch your mouth. I'm being serious right now. Watch your mouth. Because I don't play when it comes to Yahuwah. And I want to be clear, lastly, as I close, I want to be clear. I know what his name is. But you got people out here that don't even know his name. Yeah. So lead by example instead of correcting before you end up looking like a Pharisee and crucify the very person that you claim you defending. Yo, I swear.
There is power in the name of Jesus for me. I can testify to that. In Indonesia, we call Jesus.
Celebrities who tried to warn us, but got killed. Michael Jackson warned U.S. several times. They silenced him by killing him. Justin Bieber warned U.S. all in one of his songs named Yummy. Kanye West warned us about it, but everyone thought he was crazy. No one believed him. Eminem also warned us in one of his songs. No one really listened. Tupac wanted to warn us. They killed him because he knew too much and no one saw anything. Kesha changed her lyrics to her music TikTok by FKP Diddy, and no one saw anything. XXXTentacion knew too much. He warned us. He's now dead, killed by Drake.
What?
J. Cole warned us in his song, She Knows, but no one really listened to the lyrics, and we didn't suspect anything. In the last line, as you can see, he mentioned Michael Jackson. I'll see you just as soon as I die.
Is Drake aware of this?
The most gigantic angel that Enoch encountered in heaven. Among all celestial beings, one towered above the rest, Sandalphon. Ancient writings tell that his height reached the highest realms of heaven, and his radiance spread across the skies like a boundless dawn. When Enoch was brought into the divine realms, he beheld hosts of angels, yet none could compare to Sandalphon. His brilliance shone like countless suns, his voice roared like the crashing of endless seas, and even the seraphim trembled before his presence. Then God revealed to Enoch that Sandalphon was the keeper of the crowns of light, woven from the prayers of the righteous, and that each day he offered them before the throne of the Almighty. Overwhelmed with awe, Enoch fell to his knees, realizing that even in heaven there exist beings whose splendor transcends imagination itself. And so it is said that when a pure and sincere prayer rises from the world below, it is Sandalphon who bears it upward to God. If your soul feels his light, leave your amen in the comments.
Most people think fasting headaches come from lack of food, but it's much deeper than that. When you stop eating, your brain isn't starving, it's sinking. Your frequencies rise, toxins surface, and your body becomes a conduit for divine downloads. The pressure you feel behind your eyes or crown, that's energy trying to ground in a system that's running on light, not glucose. The solution isn't to stop fasting, it's to anchor the current. Add minerals, water, and breathe. Touch the ground, move your body, speak what's coming through, because fasting turns you from consumer to channel, and your body just needs a strong circuit to handle the voltage. The headache isn't punishment, it's proof that heaven and earth are finally sinking inside of you.
Fasting normally with headaches and hunger would be, parasites.
Who owns the entire music industry? Digital Nas has worked with Playboi Carti, Rich the Kid, A$AP Rocky, Lil Yachty. Did he witness these artists sell their soul? Playboi Carti's label Opium is signed to Interscope Records, owned by Universal Music Group. Bill Ackman is a shareholder, one of the billionaires that funded Charlie Kirk right before his life ended. Majority owned by Vincent Bolloré, who controls shipping ports in all of these African and Asian countries. He's the grandson of Nicole Goldschmidt from the Rothschild family. His grandmother was a Rothschild that helped Israel get its first weapons, allegedly. Rich the Kid is signed to Republic Records, which is also owned by UMG, owned by the same people. Another owner of UMG is Tencent. The most influential American at Tencent, David Wallerstein. Lil Yachty and Katy Perry are signed to Capitol Records. UMG owns Capitol Records. Digital Nas worked with A$AP Rocky, owned by Sony Records. Sony Records owns Britney Spears, Beyonce, Central C, Lil Nas X, and all these people you see on screen right now. Their CEO CEO is Robert Strenger, who won the United Jewish Appeal Award. Ye worked with Digital Nas on bangers like Vultures, Donda 2. Guess what everyone in the music industry has in common? Digital Nas is going to tell me tomorrow.
Wow, this guy is doing his research like a boss.
The education system is failing.
Why do we spend 14 years at school, kindergarten, junior, middle school, high school, learning things that will be of no value? The capitals of all the states and the names of the rivers in Canada going from left to right or west to east or whatever. Why? You can look that up. But they didn't teach our kids how to balance a checkbook.
This is what school looks like in China, integrated and changing with the technology of the times we now live in. And this is what it looks like in the West. It looks the same as it did 150 years ago. It's stagnant. And let's be honest, many of the things taught in school today won't even matter in 10 years. The system has not caught up. It's still built like an old factory with rows of kids. Same lessons, same pace, training them to be mindless workers in a world that doesn't need those skills anymore. We're teaching obedience, not innovation, routine, not resilience. A desert of creativity. And higher education isn't any better. Over half of college graduates are unemployed. 52% never get a job that actually needs their degree. And 10 years later, nearly half of them are still stuck doing jobs they did not study for. That's not education, that's career roulette, and a big sign that the system is broken. To make it worse, degrees are getting more expensive and less useful. Most graduates never work in their field they studied in, ever. And if you can use AI to write your test paperwork, should you be studying that subject? Meanwhile, the job market is collapsing over automation completely. Yep. Oxford studies estimate that a quarter of all occupations are at high risk of being taken over by AI right now. And not just the easy ones, even high-skilled jobs are getting picked apart by algorithms. Lawyers, accountants, journalists, graphic designers. So what exactly are we preparing these kids for? Because school isn't teaching how to build a business, how to manage money, how to structure a company, or how to avoid paying tax like the ultra-wealthy do. And teachers know it too. Classrooms are chaos. Kids are wired from dopamine hits, flicking between screens every few seconds. Their attention spans are shredded. Teachers are burning out trying to compete with TikTok, YouTube, and a digital world that rewires the brain faster than any textbook ever could.
These kids have so much screen time, their brains don't work.
The sad truth is, the system was never designed to make you wealthy or free. It was designed to make you useful. So maybe it's time schooling taught real skills like entrepreneurship, adaptability, emotional intelligence. How to work with AI instead of pretending it doesn't exist. Because if we don't change what we're teaching, we're just raising a generation of perfectly prepared students for a world that doesn't.
The school system is used to indoctrinate, not educate.
Make sure to show this terrifying video to your sisters and daughters. Picture this. You're going to your very first club party. The music's loud, your friends are laughing, everyone's having a great time. That's exactly how the night started for 18-year-old Millie Taplin from the UK.
18.
She was enjoying herself, soaking up the vibe, until one single moment turned her fun night into an absolute nightmare. Nothing suspicious, just a cocktail. Millie took a sip, completely unaware of what was about to happen next. Within minutes, her body started to shut down. Her arms and legs froze up. She couldn't talk.
Oh my goodness.
The only sounds she could make were these strange guttural noises. People around her actually thought she might be possessed. She was rushed to the hospital, where doctors confirmed that someone had spiked her drink with powerful substances. Millie spent 4 excruciating hours trapped in what she described as a living hell. If the dose had been just a little higher, she might not have survived. But thankfully, her body managed to fight it off. Now, Millie is sharing her story to warn others. Never accept drinks from strangers. You have no idea what someone might slip into it. And it could cost you your life.
And one of
God still loves you, girl.
my cellmates was an Australian arsonist. And he said, let me walk you around and introduce you to the guys. I said, okay. We go to this other housing unit, and there's a little tiny guy there who didn't speak any English, and he said, this is, I forget what his name is, Ahmed or something. He's from Iraq. And I said, Ana sharaf b'mariftek. It's very nice to meet you. And he says, تتكلم عربي. وأنا عرب. أنا من Iraq. I said, yeah, great, you're from Iraq. I was in Iraq. It's very nice to meet you. Turns out he was there on a terrorism charge. He was the imam of some mosque in New York, and somebody was trying to sell a Stinger missile to somebody, and he translated the document, the bill of sale, and he got wrapped up in this terrorism case. So I get called into the lieutenant's office the next day. And usually if you're being called into the lieutenant's office, you're going straight to solitary. So I hear my name, Kiriakou, lieutenant's office, immediately. Always with the immediately. And they know you can't do it immediately because all the doors are locked. So I wait for a 10-minute move period. The bells ring, and I go to the lieutenant's office. I said, you wanted to see me? And they have this guy's picture on a computer screen. You know this guy? I said, I don't know him. I met him yesterday. What'd you say to him? I said, nice to meet you. What did he say to you? He said, nice to meet you too. Oh yeah? Well, after you walked out, he called a number in Pakistan and they told him to kill you. I said, get the fuck out of here. I could kill this guy with my thumb. No, don't do that. We've been looking for a reason to transfer him out. I'm like, okay. So every time I see this guy, I give him the stink eye, right? And then he gives me the stink eye back. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, that doesn't make any sense. He's Kurdish. He only speaks Arabic and Kurdish. Why would he call a number in Pakistan when they don't speak Arabic in Pakistan? That just didn't make sense. So I saw him in the yard. And I went up to him, and he got kind of scared, like he was going to try to defend himself. And I had, 6 inches and 100 pounds on this guy. So I said, wait a minute. Just want to ask you a question. Did the cops say anything to you about me? And he said, yeah. I said, what did they say to you? And he said, they told me that after we met, you called a number in Washington, and they told you to kill me. And I said, oh, they did they? So I went back to the law library and I looked this up, and this was a Class D felony. It was conspiring to commit violence in a federal facility. It's punishable by up to 5 years in prison. So I wrote it in my letter and I sent it to my attorney, and I didn't give it a second thought. I didn't know my attorney was friends with Arianna Huffington, who then put it on Huffington Post with this banner headline, millions of hits. The next thing I know, Jake Tapper drives to the prison to interview me, and it's everywhere from CNN to Playboy to The Economist and Time Magazine, when Time Magazine was a thing, and NPR's calling the prison to interview me, and the next thing I know, I'm called to the warden's office. Well, that's in an off-limits part of the facility. So the warden calls me in, he's like, I'm going to send you to solitary right now. And I thought, is now the time to be humble before the warden, or should I stake my claim? And I said, Warden, with all due respect, I've gone nose to nose with Al-Qaeda, with Hezbollah, with the Iranians, and you want me to be afraid of you? Give me some credit. He said, yeah? We'll see what you say when you've spent some time in solitary. I said, I've lived in Yemen, in Pakistan. I'm not afraid of your Loretto, Pennsylvania solitary. Besides, I said, go ahead and send me to solitary. CNN's going to be waiting for you next to your car in the parking lot. And I just looked at him. I never went to solitary. Not for a minute.
Wow. Jeez.
This book is called The Free Energy Secrets to Cold Electricity. When you think about electricity, right here, you think about something hot. You think about something hot to touch, toxic, poisonous to our health, and messes with our mind, and usually linked to like MS or autoimmune or lupus. But you don't think about cold electricity. And it was interesting because there was a fellow who created a car called Ed Gray in the 1980s, and it was an engine that ran on cold electricity. It was cold to touch the entire time. And it was interesting because he didn't have to use any fuel. He could just power an engine with 6 little batteries. 6 little batteries. And this was cold electricity. And that's him right there. And it talks about the fuelless car of 1984. And it's interesting because 1984 is a common name that we know about. Miracle, no fuel engine, could save us $35 billion a year in gasoline. Isn't it interesting how none of this stuff kind of comes to light? You know, these people kind of disappear or something kind of happens to them or you don't really hear about this. And then they tell us about climate change and then they tell us about oil prices and all that other stuff.
When Eilat Mazar realized she discovered an ancient structure near Jerusalem, she turned to the Bible to help explain what she found.
Just outside the Temple Mount, she found more royal ruins, this time from David's son Solomon.
In her final months, famed archaeologist Eilat Mazar whispered that there was something she couldn't publish, something she found beneath the palace of David.
I kind of frozen. It was amazing, unexpected. And I thought, oh, wow, so much gold. What am I going to do?
After her death, private notebooks surfaced, names not in her reports, sketches of sealed hidden chambers, and a line she wrote again and again.
She said, well, this is the uppermost point of the city of David, directly beneath the old city walls and the Temple Mount to the north of us.
What they don't want the world to know, was it just academic drama, or evidence buried under royal foundations that could upend biblical history? Her final words, the truth she couldn't publish. In her final months, people who knew Eilat Mazar argued fiercely that she had lost her mind. Some said openly that she had gone mad. Cancer was destroying her body, but many close to her believed it was the secrets she carried that pushed her into breakdown. Neighbors claimed they could hear her screaming in the middle of the night, and not just once or twice. They said it happened often enough that people in her building were disturbed by it. Visitors to her home said she would sit for long stretches talking to herself in a low, agitated voice, as if she was locked in heated arguments with people no one else could see. These were not the ordinary struggles of a sick woman. To those around her, they were signs that she was being crushed by what she had kept hidden. Her physical decline was brutal. She lost weight at a shocking pace, and by the end, she appeared frail and almost unrecognizable compared to the strong, confident archaeologist the public remembered. But it was her behavior that alarmed her family and colleagues most. They described her pacing her apartment, muttering again and again about what they don't want the world to know. Those words stuck with people who heard them, because they suggested she believed she was protecting a truth too dangerous to be made public. When she died in 2021, her belongings revealed more troubling details. Family and colleagues discovered notebooks filled with sketches, dates, and names that had never been included in her published work. Unlike her professional excavation reports, which followed academic standards, these private notes were fragmentary and cryptic. Some entries pointed to discoveries she had seen but never released. Others hinted at theories she had deliberately kept quiet. The fragments were controversial enough that people who saw them began to argue over why she had hidden them. Some believed she was protecting her reputation. By that time, critics were already mocking her for treating the Bible as a guide for archaeology. Releasing findings that were even more radical could have destroyed her career entirely. Others believed her silence had nothing to do with reputation. They argued she was protecting the state of Israel from discoveries that could undermine the nation's founding history. And then came the sharpest debate of all. Why did she finally confess? Some said she was pressured into it, that warnings from colleagues or officials forced her to say something before her death. Others argued that her conscience simply gave out, and she could no longer hold her secrets in. But many claim that even in her confession, she did not tell the full truth. They believe she revealed only part of what she knew, leaving the most dangerous details buried. The situation around her confession turned into another battlefield in her already controversial career. Academic rivals pointed to her behavior as proof that her ideas had gone too far and that she was unstable at the end. Even as the arguments raged over her final confession and what she truly revealed, one question kept surfacing. How did Eilat Mazar become so consumed by this mission in the first place? And why was she willing to risk her reputation and her sanity for it?
Jerusalem has been the eternal capital of Israel since the days of King David.